Morning, guys. We're on Proverbs chapter 10. I'm going to read from verse 1 to 10. We're just going into a section where there's a whole lot of proverbs that talk about a whole lot of different subjects, almost like coffee cup verses, where they just single little phrases. Don't be like this, be like that, comparing different things, and not really in any kind of order or context or anything. So it's one of the few times we can actually just pull little verses out for the day that can have quite a profound impact on our lives. And so we kind of will be jumping through a variety of subjects. But it says in verse 1, the Proverbs of Solomon, a wise son makes a father glad, but a foolish son is a grief to his mother. So there's the one and the other. But also kind of related, because the mother gets affected by the foolish son. The father gets proud by a son who's doing well. Mothers are more emotional. They are bringing up their sons, are the ones who are spending more time with them. And so when a son goes wayward, often the mothers grieve more. Verse 2, ill-gotten gains do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. So straight away we jump into another subject. A lot of the Proverbs talk about dishonest scales. Don't do bad business deals, duck tax, things that'll get gained dishonestly, but rather do deal with things righteously, because remember, God's looking at the way we do things, and we must be looking at storing up treasures in heaven, not on earth. Verse 3, the Proverbs, the Lord will not allow the righteous to hunger, but he will reject the cravings of the wicked. Poor is he who works with a negligent slack hand, or a hand that's not working hard, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. And so now we see just an aspect of working hard and how that produces food. If we don't, there's a lot of warnings of the sluggard and the lazy person, and here there'll be blessings of a hard working person, and then those that are poor are often because they're not walking close to God, because God promises to feed the righteous. Those that are applying themselves, even the poor, will always have food and clothing. Those are the two promises that God has. So by implication is that if people are going hungry, they need to look at their lives and say, hang on, have I walked away from the Lord? Verse 5, he who gathers in summer is a son who acts wisely, but he who sleeps in harvest is a son who acts shamefully. And so again, looking at the sluggard who's being negligent, he's not applying himself. God provides in the summer, and so when the crops come, he doesn't harvest, he doesn't store. There's aspects of in Proverbs of storing and keeping for the winter months, and so an important lesson there. Verse 6, blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. And so again, this aspect of reaping and sowing, if we walk in God's ways, there's always a blessing. But as you see with the unrighteous, it leads to violence. Often when you see violence happening in a country, it's a sign that there's unrighteousness and wickedness in that country. Verse 7, the memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will rot. We remember those men of renown that have been, those fathers that have been in the past that have had a good blessing and reaped the benefits of walking in God's ways. And other than the Bible, one of the best books to read is these autobiographies. They really are encouraging when you see how God's hand has been over those righteous people from the past, and their memory is lost, but the wicked fade. Verse 8, the wise of heart will receive commands, but a babbling fool will be ruined. And those that are wise will learn to be corrected, to receive a rebuke, to want to grow, to want to deal with their sin. But a fool is not interested. He's just a babbler. Just many words talking, but there's no fruit in his life, and he stays and he remains in his sin, and he'll be ruined, it says. Verse 9, he who walks in integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will be found out. He who winks the eye causes trouble, and a babbling fool will be ruined. If we remember in chapter 6 of Proverbs, winking eyes is not necessarily a good thing. It's aligned with signals of his feet, pointing his finger. And it says, verse 14 of chapter 6, with perverted heart devises evil, continually sowing discord. So as Judas kissed Jesus, it was a sign of betraying Jesus. And so winking and these kind of things is not a good thing in this context. But he who winks the eye causes trouble, and a babbling fool will be ruined. So many different aspects now. We're jumping around a bit, but perhaps there's something there today that you can apply to your life.